This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Big news out of the NBA as we welcome you into hour 2 of Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. We're live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino as always. If you did miss any of the program in hour 1, good news for you. You can always catch Money Moves each and every day wherever you get your podcasts. Download, subscribe, do all the things so you don't miss a minute of the program.
You've already downloaded and subscribed Pod to the Futures, so you might as well do Money Moves too.
5 stars. There we go. Nailed it. But let's dive into this NBA news here off the top, because the Dallas Mavericks have finally done what their fans have been calling for the last 9 months, it feels like, following the Luka Doncic trade. General manager Nico Harrison reportedly fired this morning. How about this tweet, by the way, from Shams following the news break this morning, JVT? The Harrison firing comes 9 months after the jarring and stunning Luka Doncic trade, a move for which team owner Patrick Dumont took accountability for and accepted as a mistake in a courtside interaction with a fan on Monday night. So we have not seen the accountability or any of that taken that they made this move to begin with publicly.
Yeah.
Yet it's a statement made to a fan prior to firing the guy the next day.
I mean, this has obviously been an absolute mess with the way this has gone for the Dallas Mavericks, starting with the trade that you're talking about. Look, Nico Harrison is, and deservedly so, is suffering for this. But the fact that Dumont has yet to really come out, because, again, there's a process. Mm-hmm. Nico Harrison doesn't just trade away Luka Doncic, just destroy the future of this franchise moving forward. And then, of course, oh, man, you did that? I can't believe it. And, by the way, so they've played. It's
not like that call to Rob Pelinka happened without any knowledge to Dumont.
You don't sign it. You don't call the league office. None of that without Dumont giving you the yes. The other part is, if you were in such a position that you were going to fire him 10-ish games into the season, it goes back to what we talked about yesterday with Brian Dable. We did it on a smaller scale, which was like, if this was going to be a result that caused him to get fired, losing that game to the Bears, why didn't you fire him before the game then, or whatever it was? Same thing here. If 10 games was going to be a situation in which you would allow him to then be fired, nothing changed. You know, Kyrie Irving, we knew wasn't going to play. Yep. Cooper Flagg is still learning and developing and had a good game the other night.
Which, I was going to say, totally overshadows what was a career high in points for him. Becoming, I think I wrote down the youngest player, tied for the youngest player with LeBron James for the most points in a game.
Okay, I think that sounds about right.
So that's overshadowed now by this.
So, but nothing about this team has been shocking or a failure. It's kind of what you expected. Hey, it's a team that stinks on offense and has nobody that can dribble. And in the offseason, you were seeing if Cooper Flagg could play bleeping point guard because you were so desperate for some sort of engagement on your offense. That's all the same. And so for him to just get fired now makes absolutely no sense. And I will take you back, and I think they said this in the team statement, if I remember correctly. Let me get the open to it, because they allude to in the team statement, remember 3 years ago or so, they made the run to the Western Conference Finals. And the statement that I read was like, 3 years ago we were in the Western Conference Finals. And yes, and on that team was Luka Doncic and was Jalen Brunson. And you've now allowed them to just go. And that's two different regimes, by the way, to let that happen. But it's just a poor-run organization that had everything in front of them. And now the two key pieces of that run are gone and star somewhere else.
And to your point in not firing Nico Harrison beforehand, if you were going to do this so early on in the season, is the number 1 overall pick, with you lucking out and having the ping pong balls fall your way with that, that pick was going to make itself, okay? Everybody knows the number 1 player is going to be Cooper Flagg.
That was tough. That's tough work. You got to go scout. You got to go find out.
Yeah, really tough. But outside of that, why even let him be involved in your roster construction for the future if he's going to be hanging in the balance like this? Then, adding insult to injury here, a lot of the rationale for Nico Harrison moving on from Luka Doncic is because he's fat, he doesn't want to put the work in, the conditioning. He comes back this season on the cover of Men's Health. He's so in shape. He's averaging 37 a game, 9.5 boards, 9.1 assists while shooting nearly 50% from the floor. Lakers are winning games right now. They're 8-3, even with LeBron out. So that just makes this look, even as if it wasn't already, just a horrible move to take your franchise player. I know we throw around the generational player, but he's one of those types of guys for essentially a guy who's banged up and injured and unavailable for you anyways, is just wild to me.
Yeah.
So
they deserve it.
I guess you want to push it forward. What does this mean next for the Dallas Mavericks this season? How do you view them? Same thing for the Lakers, I guess, if we want to go on the other side of it. Are they for real?
I mean, I think the Lakers, I don't know if they're for real. They're going to be a good regular season team. I think what's really impactful here and what the question is going to be is now does Dallas engage in the full rebuild? You talk about betting, like the betting angle to this is, are we betting this win total, this adjusted win total under on Dallas? Because with a new direction and with alleged reports being that they're kind of steering in the direction of the rebuild, that would mean you now flip Anthony Davis. That would mean you're trying to find some other pieces to trade off to see if you can get some assets and recoup some sort of draft capital so you can start the rebuild going forward.
The Mavs have the Suns on Wednesday, Bucks at Hornets tomorrow. I'm just looking at, how the Mavs, who the Mavs faced yesterday, because that was another thing. Like, you had 13-point lead in the fourth quarter, let it go. Bucks have them. Lakers not in action today, but tomorrow, do you think that we might see a lot of people betting Luka props just in honor of him getting back? I feel like I could see that. Much. I feel like I could see. I like to walk down Narrative Street.
Well, if you want the narrative there, I mean, on the road to the NBA Finals 2 years ago, the Dallas Mavericks, of course, beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ooh. And Luka Doncic had a very good series, even though the Thunder could not hit water falling out of a boat. And P.J. Washington turned into Ray Allen in that series. But that was a fun series. Okay. And, Luka's always got something he's very good at making up these slights, you know what I mean, against people. Like, just, hey, that guy over there in the corner of he was cheering against me, so now every time I'm staring him down when I come back out. Like, he's pretty good at that. And
it's
I think
he'd probably Michael Jordan-esque make something up in your head.
And he'd probably have something for a 10-1 Oklahoma City Thunder team tomorrow.
There we go. I'm for it. I'm also glad you did bring up Brian Daboll. Coming up in the next segment when we get to some NFL news, we do have odds out for the Giants' next head coach. So we'll get into that and some other news items. But looking to tonight's card in the association, 6 games on deck, including a national doubleheader on NBC and Peacock. Boston at the Philadelphia 76ers, Nuggets at Kings. I know one game in particular you have taken some points with the Golden State Warriors, if I recall, but a handful of games that are pretty interesting tonight.
Yes, and I was thinking about this, and this was on my radar, and then I was listening to Hardwood Handicappers, which is now back, by the way. Zach Gowen doing a brilliant job on the pod.
So since we don't say RIP anymore, what do we say?
We never said that. So Hardwood Handicappers, which I think I'm on Thursday.
Hardwood Handicappers, thumbs up.
Yeah, that's right. Which I'm on Thursday, by the way, with Zach, I believe. So I can't wait to be back on it. But either way, make sure you check out Hardwood Handicappers. It is back. It is live. Zach's been doing a great job. That is his thing now as we move forward with Kelly and I appearing every once in a while.
Got that link in the inbox this morning.
That's right. But the whole point here being is that Zach had a really good breakdown on Golden State. It was already on my radar anyway, and I'm in injury report for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is actually kind of the incredible thing about what the Thunder have done to get off to this 10-1 start. They've been pretty beat up at times throughout this season, and it does not change today. Lou Dort is not going to play. Jalen Williams is still out as well. So this is a team that in that backcourt still feeling some of those absences. And the Warriors, while they've taken onto the chin the last few games, I think they've lost 4 to the 5, somewhere in that range. They've had guys in and out of the lineup. Curry had a really bad flu for a stretch. Jimmy Butler was injured. They were giving Draymond some rest days. The Warriors are obviously still a solid team with those 3 out there. They're also going to get up for this game. I think this is going to be a really competitive contest. And given the fact that some of their guys did get some rest, whether it's because of a flu bug or injury, I trust that all their guys are ready to go here and are going to put forth a good effort. The only name of consequence that's not going to be out there is Al Horford. Yeah. So Warriors catching 7 against the Thunder. I think it's going to be a good one, and I think they can stay inside of that.
Yeah, it was for the last 6. They had the bounce back against the Pacers on Sunday to close it out. Any other games that kind of called to you where you thought maybe the spread was a little bit off here in the early morning, or that you're targeting for later on in the day to see if it does shift?
No, I mean, I think there's a couple. There's a few things. Let's start with Memphis and New York. Obviously, I mean, you like narratives. We've talked about Memphis quite a bit here on the show, and I think throughout the network.
What's Ja talking about this week?
Yeah, and what he's been doing. However, the reason why I bring this up is the Knicks are starting to flex their muscles a little bit here. They've won 4 straight. They've covered those 4 games. They have won all 6 games at home so far this season. They are 0 on the road. It was a brief 3-game jaunt, Heat, Bucks, Bulls. But this team's really kind of starting to turn it on. And for the Grizzlies, we have talked about their failures, the inconsistencies that we have seen from them. They have lost 5 out of the last 6 games, coming off of a 14-point loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The lone win over that stretch is against the moribund Dallas Mavericks. I think Memphis might be walking into a little bit of a buzzsaw here. You're at the top of the market, so I think I'm going to wait for a better in-game opportunity. Totals 232.5, so we could probably get some variance in this game. But I think that this team is probably going to be walking into a tough spot against New York, who has played so well at home and who is really starting to stretch out in terms of their status in the Eastern Conference.
Last little bit here, 76ers started to come down to earth last week or so. They're a home dog against the Celtics. Any thoughts?
No, well, here's the thought. Let me pull this up. Caution for anybody who's about to listen to me right now. You are still here in the year 2025, okay? Joel Embiid is being evaluated by team doctors for right knee soreness. So that's something we're always going to have here. And that's, to me, the story of Philly.
Yep.
You know, these back-to-backs and all the situations, we knew Embiid wasn't going to play. But as I have mentioned on this show a bunch of times, look, they got a good backcourt. Like, there's some real strong intrigue here. It's also interesting that this is already the third time they've played Boston. So, like, these two teams already know each other pretty well at the early going of the year. But that's the news to me. Embiid, again, knee soreness. It's the other knee, too. It's not the one in which he was already dealing with the procedure.
Also, if you haven't checked him out yet to this point, VSiN.com right now has an AI prop projection tool that, in addition to football, we're covering the NBA as well right now. So VSiN.com/subscribe. You get access to all of that information. It's powered by Opta AI, the trusted data source behind elite soccer analytics in the UK. And it is great because you can just type in a player's name, look at the prop projection for how many points that they think are going to be scored. It puts it directly next to what the DraftKings actual line is, so you can see where that value might lie. VSiN.com/subscribe. We're going to step aside. When we come back, getting into some of the NFL news of the day. Joe Burrow's back at practice. We have an injury update on Garrett Wilson.
Kevin
news. Stefanski said what? And breaking news.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Some unfortunate news for one of the top picks in this past year's draft in the NFL as we welcome you back here to Money Moves. The breaking news moments ago, Travis Hunter's season is over. Apparently, the Jag star underwent season-ending knee surgery to repair his LCL today. According to the team, he'll miss at least the rest of his rookie campaign and is expected to be back to football activities within 6 months. But so that's good news. At least he'll be available for the start of next fall, but not great for a Jags team that's fallen apart a little bit here, and a player that I think a lot of people were really excited to see what he was going to do this year, and they weren't really utilizing him to his capabilities.
Well, yeah, and a guy you traded assets for to
Absolutely.
Go and get. So you're kind of dancing along the fringes of what my question here is. Is it fair to ask, are we done with the experiment? Like, the whole question was, can you handle the workload of playing on both sides, doing all that kind of stuff? And I think you just kind of decide now, like, what are you going to be in terms of your position? Because you don't want to put that many snaps on him.
I've always stood by, you have him have the primary position, and if he is adamant about playing both sides, you have him do spot duty on the other side of the ball. Whatever that is that you want to commit him to most, which probably should be wide receiver at this point.
Yeah, so to that point, so if it is wide receiver, what is the impact of a spot corner?
I would agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree with you from that standpoint.
So, like, make him a wide receiver, because what are you adding in terms of percentage to your win probability if he's trotting out there to, like, cover a drag route that's not thrown to for, like, 20 snaps in a game? You know what I'm saying? Other than just putting him at risk in terms of snaps, potential injury, all the sort of things. Like, let's just make him a wide receiver. He's a very talented one, and just go from there.
You trade those assets, as you mentioned, for a guy like him because you believe he can be an impact, like, franchise changer for you, right? We have seen a mediocre player on both sides of the ball based on the way you're utilizing him. It's not I wouldn't fault him for that.
Mediocre has very negative connotations.
Aside from the desire that, why do you say, am I wrong? Is there a better word? What would be a better word?
Average isn't mean.
Would you say average?
I'm just kidding.
Like, I mean, he's had moments, sure.
Yeah.
But when you make a move like that, it's for somebody to be able to be an impact player.
Sure.
And we haven't seen him, aside from a couple moments, have an impact.
No, I agree. I mean, the trade up for him right now seems like a mistake. Sacrificing the assets to go and get him and not getting what you thought, and then ultimately probably having to be forced to make a decision on what he is going to play. it was a mistake. And it was a smart move by the Browns to go ahead and ship off those assets and allow him to be drafted like that, because now the Browns have an opportunity to use another first-round pick.
I would love for him to flourish. So, let's get him in a role where he has the opportunity to show his value. That's how I see it. And again, for anyone who missed it, the breaking news moments ago, Travis Hunter done for the year, had to have surgery on the LCL. Somebody, meanwhile, coming back from a significant injury. Joe Burrow back out on the practice field yesterday, apparently hinting at a possible return date to be Thanksgiving down the road here as he opens up his window. Should he, I guess is my question. How do you view where the Bengals are at right now, and obviously their star trying to make a return?
I mean, I guess they can technically still make the playoff. Are you really going to do this again? They're 3-6. The 7th seed right now is Jacksonville at 5-4. Kansas City's floating around there. I guess in theory you could still potentially make the playoffs. I think the question you have to ask is he better than Joe Flacco?
Of course.
You sure about that?
What?
Are we sure about that?
What are we doing here? Go on.
All right, I'm going to make a very strong case that Joe Flacco's better than Joe Burrow. I mean, look, your schedule, as we talked about 1,000 times, is pretty tough. So what are you thinking again? Thanksgiving was the kind of date that's thrown out there potentially. They play the Ravens then. Can you get through the Steelers? You'd have to win the next 2 games, I would say. Steelers and Patriots. Because if you drop the next 2 and then you're going into this Ravens game 3-8, what is the point? But if you're going into that game 5-6 with the ability to get to 500 and rip off a little winning streak to get back in, sure. I would assume what they do with him depends and relies heavily on what happens these next 2 weeks.
And Zach Taylor said, this is just day one. We'll start with day one. Just get out there, at least throw some routes on air to receivers. Yep. Then we'll start progressing. You've got this great opportunity for these next couple weeks for him to start inching his way forward. So even he's tempering expectations for what that's going to look like, which I think is appropriately so. Again, grade 3 turf toe is what he had to have the surgical repair for, and that's held him out to this point. Missed 7 games. Bengals have gone 1-6 in those games. It has not been great, and I just don't know if even if he's at full health, if one player would be enough to change the trajectory of their season. I mean,
you had the stat a billion times in the offseason. Didn't really matter.
Yep.
They were averaging, ripping off 30-point games and losing them all.
Yep.
So is it really going to make that big of a difference if he's going to come back here, given how flawed this team is? And think about the gauntlet. It's like, hey, buddy, glad you're back. Now over the next 3 weeks, play the Ravens, the Bills, and the Ravens again and save our season. That's a really tough ask.
We also have an update on Garrett Wilson, wide receiver for the Jets, expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks with a right knee sprain. He just got back this past Sunday after missing the 2 weeks prior with an injury to that same knee. Had some imaging, done yesterday. Was determined he won't require surgery, so I guess that's a plus that you can just heal it out. But this offense needs him. We looked at the numbers as of total offense, just 169 total yards in Sunday's win.
Sunday's what?
Sunday's win.
End of story. They're winning games. Why does it matter?
Aren't you mad when I'm about to use this next word? Which included 42 net passing yards.
So unfair.
Wilson was only targeted twice, by the way, in the win. Held without a catch for the first time in his career. But if there is any hope at all for the pass game to be productive, you need this guy.
I mean, or you can get a punt return for a touchdown and a kickoff return for a touchdown, and everything's good.
Isn't that crazy that special teams touchdowns and getting sacked a zillion times is the Jets' recipe to win games? How is that even? What are we doing?
Right? I do wonder if maybe they do at some point decide to make a change of quarterback. Well, what's the difference at this point right now? You're entering the rebuild. It's time to start losing games. We should know it.
Actually, maybe just keep starting Justin Fields then.
Yeah.
If that's what you're angling for.
Well, that's actually a brutal win for you last week. We talked about this team when they had shipped off all these pieces of, do you look at them at about 5-1 to have the fewest wins in the National Football League? That picture becomes a little bit clearer with this victory as they not take themselves out of contention, but obviously your leaders in the clubhouse here with those one win, like that's going to be something now where you look at it and say, all right, well, Jets might have just taken themselves out.
They are still the second shot on the board behind the Titans, but to your point, Tennessee's odds on now at -135 for that price. The Giants, who fired Tobel this week, 8-1 in that market as well. The Jets getting 12.5 on Thursday night, and we'll preview that game at length. That's coming up in New England on Thursday, total 43.5. But let's go down the Giants route now, because I did mention to you last segment, we have odds for the Giants' next head coach following the Tobel firing yesterday. Mike McCarthy at 7-1, your favorite to get back in the game.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't know, like, what would they be looking for? What are the other names?
Clint Kubiak at 8-1, Steve Spagnuolo 9-1, Lou Anarumo plus 950, Cliff Kingsbury 10-1, Mike Kafka, who is the interim coach right now, 12-1, as is Jesse Minter and Jeff Hafley.
Cliff Kingsbury double digits? Might not be the craziest thing in the world. Get another crack at it.
Yeah.
Done a really good job as the offensive coordinator for Washington. Part of the reason why, I mean, I don't know how much want to split up the pie, but part of the reason why Jaden Daniels was able to hit the ground running was a really well-schemed offense under Kingsbury. You've got a young quarterback that you want to get the most out of. Kingsbury might make some sense.
Plus, we've talked a lot about the other aging elements of the Commanders roster. Maybe he's I know that's mostly on defense, but looking to maybe go to greener pastures if that's the case.
I mean, and these guys are, we all have ego, but these guys have egos. You don't think that he wants to get another shot at this?
Sure.
And maybe, I'm totally stretching my line of theory here. You think maybe he's kind of looking around and going, you see what's going on in Arizona? You see what I had to work with there? You see Kyler Murray? You're like, I'm fair. A good coach. I can actually coach. Look what's happening right now, right? It's the the Shannon Sharp gif. Just look what I had to deal with. I can still do this. So maybe that's one.
I had Louisville this past week, and Miller Moss during our meetings was talking to us about his experience working with Cliff and everything at USC, and he said that still, even today with him doing everything that he's doing, obviously with the Commanders, that they talk every week. He's still very invested in his career, the relationship element of it. I think that could be just another feather in the cap, though, of a guy looking for a head coaching gig elsewhere, that he's well-liked, I guess, he's a player's coach,
Is Matt LaFleur on that list?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Well, I'm just saying, there was a report this morning that he's on the hot seat. So, I think you talk about guys who don't deserve to be fired, like Matt LaFleur. If they dared to fire Matt LaFleur, he'd get snatched up in 2 seconds.
The only currently employed head coach in the NFL that I see on this odds board of 40-1 or shorter is Mike McDaniel.
Okay.
And he's 40-1. Antonio Pierce, 14-1. Look at some of these names. Look at what are we doing? Okay, we've got to step aside here on Money Moves. So much more here still to come in the final half hour of the program. Stick around.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're rolling along here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. And you know what's changing the game right now for sports bettors? Profit X. You can get a 20% deposit match up to $100 on your first purchase, plus 0% commission on player props and 1% on everything else right now. Every $50 you wager on parlays in November earns you an entry as well to win a $500 restaurant gift card of your choice with drawings each and every Tuesday. With Profit X, you get real markets, real prices, no house edge. Download Profit X now and use our promo code VSiN to get started. That's VSIN when you download Profit X. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino.
Chiefs laying 4 on the road against the Broncos. Go.
I would probably. Okay, we talked about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take points with a team you don't like because you think that's a little bit too much. That team being the Denver Broncos.
I did add Denver.
You did?
For the week, yeah.
You just feel like it's too. So is that
too much?
By
the way, we're starting to see some 3.5s pop. So I don't think I'm alone in my thinking.
So you and I have been very vocal on the show about not being believers in Bo Nix, and I think the performance that we saw on Thursday night against the Raiders was just great evidentiary support for how we feel. But I think this is more of a question now for me of what do you view the Chiefs as? And so at home hosting this team, excuse me, this game's in Denver.
No, it's on the road. Yeah.
Okay,
So here's the thing. To what what I'm kind of getting at here. As I alluded to when we talked to Adam Burke about this, I think you can
I didn't realize this was at Mile High.
Yeah. You can just take these 6 teams, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Colts, throw them all in a hat. They're not that much different from each other from a power rating standpoint, in my mind. But to sit here and say, and it's coming off of the bad performance against the Raiders, so like that does, I think, account to why this is as high as it is. But to say that, yeah, you know what, on a neutral, this should be about 5.5. Out in Kansas City, this should probably be about a 7. Like, I don't think that gap is there. I think all of these teams are relatively flawed. I think that the Broncos, this is not a shocking statement, are a pretty good defensive team that's going to be able to hold their own here against Kansas City. I just think that we've maybe swung our pendulum a little too far the other direction. And look, the Broncos have not been a good cover team. They've been overrated by the betting market. They're 4-6 against the spread. But this is clearly, and I'm very excited for Friday. Not that, I love having you here, but I'm excited for Friday to see in our market power rating exercise where Denver ultimately falls because of where this number is at. Because I would assume that this is a notable downgrade, I'll call it, for Denver in the market power ratings considering this number right now.
Any part of you, when you look at Kansas City, think, okay, well, the last time we saw them, they were in Buffalo taking a loss.
Sure.
They have a full bye week to reset and get ready for what is a very important division game for them as well, considering how well Denver has played to this point, the losses that they have. I mean, even to start the season, that loss they had overseas to the Chargers, the way that you're falling back. Is there something to the motivation factor of a team that needs to win and establish some dominance?
I mean, probably, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers needed to bounce back after a bye and establish dominance, and they lose that game.
They're pretty beat up injury-wise, though, by comparison.
The Eagles came off of a bye, and they got to win, but holy smokes, that did not look great for Philadelphia.
They were also an underdog.
Sure. Well, they closed as a favorite in a couple spots, did they not? They were
did they? I thought they closed Pick'em or +1.5.
I think to your point, though, Andy Reid has been very good off buys, as we know. You'll hear it 1,000 times throughout this year. So maybe that is part of it. But I don't know, man. Like, I think that there is not that big of a gap from in all of these teams I'm discussing, which goes back to the original point. I actually kind of think that it's time. The time is now. You can find the Ravens at 7-1 to win the AFC. They seem to be. They're healthy. They seem to be playing very good football after these last 2 weeks. And I just think the AFC is kind of bad. And that's why I don't think I would be willing to go out and lay a 4 on the road with Kansas City, who has shown its own inconsistencies from week to week.
Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to you, but go into the NFC, and 2 teams I think could make the argument for being the best teams in the NFL right now. Seahawks-Rams this week. LA laying 2.5 at home. Go.
I mean, we're waiting for 3.5, right?
You think we'll get over?
I mean, it went to 3 pretty easily. It's not even a juice 3.
What I was going to ask you is, like, if you thought this was more likely to go to 3 or to 2. So you think you're hoping to get 3.5.
I'm looking at 3 right. It's 3 minus 110 everywhere I'm looking on my screen, unless my screen is inaccurate. A couple of spots, the now late ESPN bet has 3.5 shaded to the dog side at minus 120. So
DraftKings is 2.5.
Yeah, okay. So it's 2.5 minus 120 though, right? So like this is. I am waiting to see what the market wants to do here. Clearly, the Rams deserve some respect. Obviously, the market thinks the Rams are better than the Seahawks. And this is a decent jump up for the Seattle Seahawks in terms of level of not only competition, but for the market ratings themselves. But I do think that, man, like, if we're going to sit here and say, I think the Seahawks might be the best team in the NFL, I'll take a field goal with one of the best defensive teams and a team that I think can win the NFC.
So the combination of what Sam Darnold has been able to do to operate this offense and the things they've been able to do with the explosive plays paired with what Mike McDonald has created identity-wise with that defense is such a strong combo.
Also, MVP eliminator here?
Depends on the performance, right? I don't think a win or loss is going to knock you if they both end up having great days and it's a shootout.
Like it's a shootout, they both throw 4 touchdowns, but one just ends up. Well, that's a fair point.
Say that.
I mean, but some would view it as a tiebreaker.
Like, oh, that's the head-to-head.
Yeah, right. Matthew Stafford did it. Like, this is it. This is his game.
I think that Matthew Stafford's 4+ touchdown trend, though, is going to probably fall to the wayside this week.
Yeah.
This defense is legit.
Okay. I think it's fair. I'm
really excited for that game.
What do you like here? Because you asked me, what is your opinion?
I think it's okay sometimes to be neutral and just sit back and watch what's going to be a great game.
No, come on. You need a side.
Well, my big thing last week...
Smelling a show bet.
Remember when we were talking last week about
you grow out your mustache
about the Rams and 49ers and how San Francisco just has no pass rush right now with the injuries they have, and if you're going to give Matthew Stafford time, he's going to cut you up. I think that Seattle is much more capable in that area, and I'm curious to see what it ultimately looks like. So maybe that's a live betting opportunity. We see how that offensive line is holding up against Seattle's defense and kind of go from there. But my gut does lean Seahawks. It's not like the Rams have a massive home field advantage or anything like that. We've actually seen Seattle play better on the road than they have at home when you look at the total numbers this season. So I lean taking the points, especially if, as you pointed out, there are spots where you can get the 3. I only see the 3.5 at ESPN Bet, but if you can get there.
Are we?
And maybe since they're going away, they're just trying to, drum up more action.
Are we taking 7 with the Tennessee Titans?
Oh, God.
Come on now. Broken clock. Is it the broken clock game?
At home, getting 7.5.
7.5 some spots.
Some places.
What's the update on Stroud?
Concussion protocol.
No. It's not anything. Remember our 6-second window. You can't.
Sorry. This is the thing. So I didn't realize this, and I guess it makes sense from an audience standpoint that you shouldn't have dead air. But sometimes I have to think.
Ruminating.
Sometimes I have to think for a second. I guess I could speak while thinking, but I just don't have that gift.
Titans did cover last time out against the Chargers. Now, they did it courtesy of a pick 6, and I believe, they get special teams touchdown in there as well, right?
I just read an article that Cam Ward is on pace to have like a historic number of sack yardage this season. So it doesn't give me a lot of confidence.
What's his net passing yards for the season? Let's figure that out.
I do want to find out that number, actually.
You know what I hate about this, and there's a reason I want to bring this up outside of just talking about 7.5. This stupid Texans team is on the fringes of still making it to the playoffs. And here's the thing. Will Anderson Jr. up there for Defensive Player of the Year. If this group drags that putrid offense by the scruff of its neck to either the postseason or the fringes of the postseason, even if they finish 9-8 and don't make it in, you could make a very strong case for Anderson to be Defensive Player of the Year. So, there's something to be said about how this team, we can throw up the schedule. Look, they're in every game. They're in every stupid game because of this defense. They came back because, remember, I don't know if you remember.
Even how they cemented the win. Yes, I get it. It was a defensive touchdown.
Even though it was all but over. I'm still confused
how the Jags scored 29 points on them to begin with.
Yeah.
But
this game is pretty interesting from that perspective. Titans finally cover a number. They're at the bottom of the barrel in terms of their power rating. So can they continue to do that again? And with this stupid comeback, all of a sudden, despite the fact that this team has been playing like absolute garbage for the most part on offense, Houston has won 4 out of their last 6 games and all of a sudden has life.
So my only issue with taking the Titans is that it's the freaking Tennessee Titans. And how many times have I tried to buy in on them or even tease them up to a bigger number as a dog, and I still get freaking hosed. So I really struggle with this team. I feel like every time I have bet on them, I have let's go back through the spreadsheet. I bet you every time I bet on the Titans, I've lost, with the exception of week 1.
We can corroborate.
I can almost guarantee it. Okay, we've got to step aside here. We're wrapping things up next. We'll have best bets and final thoughts as we close out the day here. This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We are wrapping up this Tuesday edition of Money Moves live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM channel 158. We're in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino, as always, home of the world's largest sports book. Remember, if you missed any of the show today, Money Moves available wherever you get your podcast as well. You never have to miss a minute of the program. And you say you had a few things you wanted to get into here on the top. Where are we going?
All right, first, before we get to best bets, Money Moves is where you also, where you've downloaded and subscribed to Pod to the Futures. You can also get Money Moves there.
You don't have to mention that every time.
So
but I guess while we're going down the podcast route, Hardwood Handicappers is back.
Yep.
And we mentioned this when we were talking about the NBA also, but that is an auto ad. If you are a bettor and you're trying to stay involved this NBA season while you're figuring everything out with the NFL and college football in full force, that is your go-to one-stop shop for how to bet the NBA every day.
I would agree. All right, a couple of things. We were talking about the potential MVP eliminator in the West Coast between the Rams and the Seahawks. Brian checks in and says, a Rams shootout win eliminates Darnold from MVP talk, but a Seahawks shootout win just a small dent in Stafford's resume. I would tend to agree with that and I'm not going to put words in Brian's mouth, but my logic there would be the voters have more respect for Matthew Stafford.
No question.
So if he is great in a loss, then they will not really ding him for it, whereas Darnold will probably carry the you've got to win sort of deal and prove it to us, even if he loses in a 4-touchdown game. I think that would eliminate might be strong. Very unlikely he wins if he loses that game.
Darnold currently is 10-1 on the board.
Yeah.
If he looks better than Matthew Stafford in the game, and maybe it's not a 4-touchdown, let's say it's
just 2 touchdowns, good game.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, good game, good completion percentage, all of his QBR, all those things stay up. How much does he get cut down after that game?
Who? Which
Sam
one?
Darnold, from 10-1 to what, would you guess?
Depends on what everybody else does, but I don't know, 8-1, 7-1.
Top of the board right now, Drake May is your favorite, and we did discuss this yesterday. Probably the shortest shot on the board, more to do with liability.
Yes.
And the way he's been bet. DraftKings had him as the most bet and highest handle percentage of anybody at this point, given the way they've performed down the stretch. He's plus 275, Stafford 3-1, Mahomes 5-1, Jonathan Taylor, ya boy, at 6-1, Josh Allen 7-1, and Sam Darnold at those double digits.
That to me right there, and we
the Josh Allen being ahead of him is wrong.
Yes, I brought this up with Mitch on Pod of the Futures. This was one of the things we discussed in today's show, but it was just that. It's man, I see that, and I don't think Allen should be ahead of Darnold. Flat out, don't think that should be the case. I think if you're just jumping in, you have nothing in MVP. I think the value is Stafford because I think he should be favored. I think he should be the favorite to an MVP, and it's Darnold because I don't think he's being priced accurately given to what he's done.
Can I just say to you, that was a very well done, organic input of Pod to the Futures.
You don't want to overdo it.
You don't have to force it like you do. You're forcing it all the time. You don't have to force it. You can just do it naturally, just
My
like that.
boss said he liked it.
Anything else?
Let's see. Yes, I have a couple of things. Jason checked in. Wished me a happy birthday. Thank you, Jason.
Happy birthday to Jonathan George Von Tobel.
He also said the dirt strip is looking good. Then also added that 15 more years and you might have something. So that's pretty good. I like that.
Have you got any growth serum, or are you just going au natural?
No, I should get one of those little rollers. You see those rollers that they try to sell? that poke holes in your skin?
No.
Yeah, it's a roller that is supposed to stimulate beard growth by opening the hair follicles.
That's funny.
Whatever.
I want it to get long enough though, so we can maybe put some gel in it and twist the sides or comb it. Yeah. I think that'll be fun.
Let's see. I had another one here. Bond Plate checked in, said he said you gave me a very cool gift. For those who did not miss it, Stormy gave me a Colts AFC champion or NFL?
Super Bowl, baby.
A Super Bowl title ticket at 11-1. That was my birthday gift.
You probably would have preferred the AFC title one, but
that's fine. No, I appreciate it. I'm not going to hedge it. It's a gift.
Let's go.
Then said, yes, it's a very thoughtful gift is what they said. So thank you very much. And we have a lot of feedback on the McRib, and this is ultimately where I wanted to come back to. Congrats to Matt Humans, who celebrates today as the McRib has returned.
Oh, today's the day. Hasn't he in the past, and I could be making this up, so don't quote me on this. Hasn't he in the past gone out and got a bunch of them to
Correct.
Save in the freezer for future
Correct.
use? Okay.
Correct. Yes.
So
it's a factual statement.
Is he going to do that again, I guess, is the question, to restock up for the future?
No. Yeah, you can't recreate the sauce, and
okay.
I believe part of it was, if I remember the story correctly, that was around the time. Remember, there was a time where they said they weren't going to bring the McRib back.
Mm-hmm. And so I feel like they've said that on numerous occasions, and then it always finds a way back on the menu.
That was a time in which he was essentially hoarding for the apocalypse and just needed something to satiate him.
Okay.
That was it. But the McRib is back today. Congrats to all who celebrate.
I like to think I am a fast food connoisseur, and so I might be looked down upon for this, and Matt Humans specifically would look down on me. I have never had a McRib.
I had one once when I was producing for Matt in radio when I got started, even though I was just a barista before all of this and I have no other background. I tried the McRib at his insistence because he said it was so great. I don't remember being blown away.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Should I give it a go, I guess,
Yeah,
since
of course.
it's back? Maybe.
Honestly, I was going to bring one in, but I realized we start too early.
I'm pretty partial to the double cheeseburger, no pickle.
Yeah.
That's kind of my vibe. Or you can get the 2 cheeseburger meal. Also, great on the menu at McDonald's. I feel like McDonald's gets a bad rap.
Do you think the most successful franchise, like fast food chain, gets a bad rap?
Because people have the audacity to say it's gross. You're lying to yourself. It's unbelievable. By the way, let's get a McDonald's sponsorship up in here.
That's right.
And Bill tweeted at us as well. 2 Matt Humans, #1 fast food sandwich of all time. So There you go. There's the tease there. Let's get to our best bets of the day. You have a few that you're adding, not only for tonight, but in the futures market as well.
Yep.
So you want to dial it up?
All right, for tonight, Warriors plus 7.5 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We discussed this. Warriors, I think, are going to come up to play here, catch 7.5. No Lou Dort today. There's a couple of guys that are dinged up here. We still know, of course, Jalen Williams is not available. I think the Warriors get up for this. Guys have been in and out of the lineup. It explains a little bit of the 4 out of the last 6 that they have lost. All hands on deck outside of Al Horford. Think they stay inside of the number. The blind play on Notre Dame?
Yeah, we're both doing it.
Yeah, let's do it. Notre Dame minus 11.5 this weekend against Pitt. I mean, we're firing. Let's believe Pat Narduzzi, who says that he doesn't give a rip about this game. Notre Dame does. They got to keep winning.
Yeah.
So if you got a team out there that cares and another that doesn't, I'll fall for the bait. Let's go with Notre Dame and have some fun this weekend. Minus 11.5 against Pitt. We did add. It's not. Or no, actually, I'll go in this order. I can see it. Ravens to win the AFC. You can find it at 7-1. I think this is the time to add it, so I will do it. I think this is a team that is starting to take shape as being the best team in the AFC and maybe in the NFL. Exactly what we thought we were going to be here and what we were going to get this year. So give me the Ravens to win the AFC. And then last but not least, as we had discussed, the Broncos catching 4. See, this is what bothers me. This is what bothers me. No parentheses. This is something, it just bothers me, okay?
So,
Broncos plus 4.
For anyone who doesn't know, JVT is a little bit neurotic on the rundown about parentheses around the spread for any play that he puts in there. Meanwhile, I have my own issues as well because I'm not a big parentheses person. I've been doing it to appease you at times when I notice, specifically in a certain segment when you have it, I'm like, I don't want to take away from the format that you have, so I'll keep it. You don't put the opponent. And that grinds my gears. I don't know why. I feel like we need to include the opponent on that. I am also adding Notre Dame.
At least our rundowns are on Lexend, whatever the hell that is.
So much better than Helvetica.
Yeah.
Ariel. Ugh, what are we doing? Disgusting. We're Lexend people here. I am with you on Notre Dame. And I think, too, looking at their schedule, obviously I had them at BC a couple weeks ago. I think there was an element of looking ahead to the type of offense you have to play against Navy and what that rivalry is. So they were a little bit slow starting that game. It was on the road. Even in a bad game for them, that was like a C- game. They still won by 15 points. And now taking on a Pitt team that is nationally ranked, that you do want to come out and show your best for, and you have to, essentially, for the selection committee the rest of the way, I think they're going to have a good day. And so I don't mind laying the double digits with the Irish. I'm rolling with you on that one. I don't have anything in the NFL just yet official.
What's on the radar? What are we messing with?
I just wanted to say with your Ravens play, I'm mad at myself considering how many times we discussed the buy point for the Ravens in the division that I never bet it.
Yeah.
We talked about it so many times. And I never ended up firing on it. So I do like your AFC play.
Happens all the time. Let me double check the standings here because I can complain openly about something that I had brought up in a Why Not Wednesday multiple times. Where are they? Yeah, they have a chance. New Mexico to make the Mountain West Championship game.
Oh, yeah.
That was like 16-1. And they're 3-2 and do have a very manageable schedule moving forward to potentially get in there. Colorado State, Air Force, and then they wrap with a snoozer at home against San Diego State.
Who do you have winning the Mountain West, by the way?
Who do I have winning the Mountain West? Like an actual
like
bet,
not,
or
not
who
a
am I
bet,
picking
but just like,
to win the Mountain West?
Who are you picking right now?
I don't know. Pick one. Let me see. Hawaii. Seriously, like the conference. I will say you can't really bet on this overall thought. I will say that I kind of nailed it in the preseason betting guide that we had. The Mountain West teams.
Okay.
It does. I mean, that was one of my things. You looked at it. It looked like a down year.
Is actually still your favorite to win it.
Yeah,
now.
it looked like a down year, and that has played out.
That's a wrap for us today. For our producer, Justin Emery and Jonathan Von Tobel, I'm Stormy Buonantony. Stay tuned. After Money Moves, it is Follow the Money with Mitch and Paul coming up on today's show. Paul Stone giving his college football plays, and my former neighbor, also a very good veteran bookmaker, Nick Bogdanovich, on the program. Have a great day.